Hello and welcome to JRock's Babylon. This is our President's Day special. I've been having fun doing a lot of these holiday themed specials this year since we launched JRock's Babylon last August. And so let's get into it. So um, today is, as we're recording this, we're actually recording this the day before President's Day. So this is actually, I'm sitting here doing this, it's January 15th. But now let's get into this because I found out, believe it or not, a lot of fun stuff about President's Day and the history of it. So let's really educate you and try to entertain you at the same time, and let's have a lot of fun doing it. So, okay, President's Day now, of course, is a federal holiday celebrated on the third Monday in February. Officially, the federal government still calls the holiday Washington's birthday. Now let's talk a little bit about who George Washington was. George Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732. Wow, George has long been gone, but man, he was born a long time ago, and yet he must have been somebody very important, as we all know he was, because they call him the father of our country. We're going to get into that a little bit too, but so the holiday, of course, was originally created to honor George Washington. This is what I learned now. It said in 1879, folks, okay, Congress made George Washington's birthday a federal holiday for federal officers in Washington, D.C. Now, again, I didn't know this, but when they first created the holiday, it was originally just for federal officers to have a day off. But then it says in let's see, 1885, it became a holiday for all federal employees. So, wow, they were wanting to give a day off to a lot more people. So, what a cool way to go about doing it. Okay, and so why does George Washington get honored like this? Well, it says, of course, George Washington was the very first U.S. president, and he was a Revolutionary War general, and he that's has a lot to do with why George Washington, of course, became known as the father of our country. So again, the guy is the very first president of the United States. He was in the Revolutionary War. I think he's paid his dues, that he really made his mark in the world. So he deserves to have his birthday celebrated. Why not, right? And now, of course, many of you may know, um, me, myself, I was born into the world, for anybody that cares, July 4th, 1971. The reason I'm bringing that up is I did not know what I'm about to tell you guys until doing the research today for this episode that I'm recording right now. And I bring up my birthday only because it says, get this, in 1971, the holiday was moved to the third Monday of the month to have the Uniform Monday Holiday Act. Okay, so just so we're clear on this, they passed this law in 1971 called, let's see, the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which is a law that standardized the fact that certain holidays would be observed on a Monday, to guarantee that people would have 3-day weekends. Okay, so again, this standardized the observation of several national holidays by moving them to Monday. The law became effective January 1st, 1971. And again, that's the year I was born into the world. That's why I'm bringing this all up. And again, it's kind of interesting to learn this. And I had not really paid much attention, but I kind of, as I'm learning this stuff, kind of thinking, you know what? I had an aha moment because I thought, wait a minute, you know what? Okay, that's so true. Okay, so not only does Washington's birthday, fall on a Monday, the third Monday. It's always celebrated the third. I never stopped and gave this much thought, but I also kind of always, I never really thought about it, but it recently dawned on me that, wait a minute. Martin Luther King, when we get that off from work and school, it just coincidentally, it's always on a Monday. And I never really understood or gave it much thought, but that's why certain holidays they decided would fall on a Monday. Memorial Day is another one. And again, you ever notice how I never really gave it much thought? It just kind of seemed like a coincidence. I never, again, I kind of laugh now and I sit there thinking about it because I really didn't give much thought to. But also, you ever notice Memorial Day is always a 3-day weekend? You get off, you go to work maybe Friday, you get off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and don't go back to work and school till Tuesday. And again, it's kind of funny as I sit here and think about this, having just learned about this today. I never knew nothing about, the Uniform Holiday Act. So it's kind of, this is what it says. It was called the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, and that's the law that was passed in 1971. And it's funny because I never really gave it much thought, but I laugh because, man, just think for a minute. It's that Martin Luther King and Memorial Day, we always get off on a Monday. What's the coincidence that every calendar year that those holidays are always going to fall on a Monday? Well, that's why, folks, they passed this law that's saying certain holidays would be celebrated on a particular Monday. So again, just so we're clear here, the holidays that were affected by this Uniform Monday Holiday Act, as I mentioned, were Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, and Columbus Day. Columbus Day, there's been controversy last several years about should we celebrate Columbus Day, should we not? The controversy basically is that a lot of people just they think that Columbus doesn't deserve to have a holiday. I think he did, but again, I never really gave it much thought until I'm doing this today and learning and doing the research for today's episode. Columbus Day is another one that always, just coincidentally, folks. You go to work on Friday and you get Saturday, Sunday, Monday off from work and school. I never gave it much thought, but come on now, let's use our brain power here. What are the chances that Columbus Day and Washington's birthday is always going to fall on a Monday? Well, now we know why. Fun little fact here, but I never really knew too much about. Now here's some more interesting information I was able to dig up on the history of President's Day. It said now another holiday that was affected by this Uniform Monday Act, Holiday Monday Act, was in 1983. The Martin Luther King federal holiday was added to the list of holidays that always fall on a Monday. And again, I never really gave that much thought, but now in retrospect, I look back on 50 years of life and it seems like Martin Luther King Day is another one that always falls on a Monday. But I mean, really, folks, let's use our brain power here. If you really stop and think about it, what are the chances that every year it's going to fall on a Monday? Come on now, but now I understand this is how the federal government does things, okay? Interesting thing to learn. That's a fun thing about going through life, folks. We always hopefully are learning something new, and then you come across it, and it's like, wow, how did I not know this? How did I not stop and kind of realize this until now? But wow, just because I wanted to do an episode of JRock's Babylon here on the history of President's Day, I thought it'd be fun to kind of learn, why we celebrate President's Day. I knew why, but there's so many things about it that I didn't know that I've learned, and I'm going to share with you guys all today. And this was just one of many things that I learned. And again, I can't believe I'm just learning this, but wow, what a huge discovery. Okay, so it also says in 2026, this year, while the federal government still calls a holiday Washington's birthday, in the 1970s and 80s, people started calling the holiday President's Day. Again, we know that modern time that President's Day, most people think of as that we're celebrating the birthdays of both Washington and Lincoln, but for many, many years, it was just known as Washington's birthday. But now, if you talk about modern times, most people think when they hear President's Day, February we celebrate the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. Well, that's something that kind of started up in the 1970s and 80s, and a lot of people started calling it President's Day instead of Washington's birthday. Okay, and then it says again, this is another fun fact, because for years it was just that we were celebrating George Washington's birthday, but many people also consider Abraham Lincoln a very great and beloved president in the story of the United States of America. When you talk about heroes in American history, Abraham Lincoln is right up there with George Washington, because let's be honest, I mean, Abraham Lincoln was the president during the Civil War. That's time when he freed the slaves. That's really what he became known for and remembered for. And Abraham Lincoln, they called him Honest Abe, very much like George Washington. Another one that was always thought about, people talked about George is honesty just as much as they talked about Abraham Lincoln and called him Honest Abe. So they had a lot, these two guys, besides being the president of the United States, they had a lot of other things in common. And so it's kind of interesting that both their birthdays fall in the month of February. And so what is now referred to as President's Day, most people will tell you, oh yeah, President's Day, that's when we celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday. I remember in February when I was a little kid, we used to get a day off for Lincoln and a day off for Washington's birthday. Most states these days refer to it as President's Day, and most states only give you one day off. And that's another way the federal government does things. Say, okay, instead of calling it, instead of having like two separate days off in the month, we're just going to call it President's Day, and people are going to get one federal holiday. And of course, on such federal holidays as Washington's birthday, or if we want to call it President's Day, because it is a federal holiday, all federal agencies are closed. So that means all the banks are closed. The New York Stock Exchange is closed. It means the U.S. Post Office is closed. And so a lot of places that you typically do business with, if it's part of the federal government, it's closed down for the day. Wow, and I don't know if I ever really gave President's Day as much thought as I am today, talking about it right here. But man, I'm amazed at all the stuff I learned about it today. And now I'm here sharing it with you guys. So I hope you're enjoying learning about all this stuff as much fun as I had learning about it. So we'll see. We'll see tomorrow when this premieres as our JRock's Babylon President's Day special. So you guys let me know how your President's Day is tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great day off for everybody that's got a day off. I myself am fortunate enough to be enjoying this 3-day weekend. Normally I'd be getting ready to go back to work on Monday, but it's a day off, and I'm so grateful that got a day off, because it's supposed to be pretty bad rainstorm. So, and I personally just hate to drive in the rain. So I would rather have a day off and stay home if we can get a federal holiday and enjoy one more day off where I have to go to work. So I hope you guys are all enjoying your day off. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the next subject here. It says, of course, now a holiday now falls between Washington's birthday and Abraham Lincoln's birthday, which is February 12th. And as I said, some states already celebrate Lincoln's birthday separately, but not most states just call it President's Day. So if you're in one of those states, I guess you know if you get 2 days off or 1 day off. And now, of course, many schools use the week of the holiday for President's uh, Week activities. So many of the schools, when it's President's Day for that week, they will be teaching the kids at school about about Washington or Lincoln or maybe even all the presidents of the United States. So so we have a total like right now. There's been in the history of the United States, of course, we have 40. There's been 47 presidents. So that's a good time. That's one thing I always used to love about history class, learning about the different presidents of the United States. And it didn't matter if they were Republican or Democrat. I loved learning about the presidents of the United States because that's one thing. If you got a history class or something like that, or you learn a lot if you learn about the presidents of the United States. You learn a lot about the American history, and it's just a lot of fun. I always had fun in history class. That was one of my all-time favorite classes, folks. Um, okay, and then here's what else it said. It said, okay, um, let's see. Okay, retailers. Another thing when you think about President's Day, how many times, each year, a few days before President's Day, we start seeing advertisements from some of the big name retailers about President's Day sale. Typically, what is really famous being advertised on President's Day is typically that you'll see mattress companies having huge mattress sales, cars, car lots. You often see advertised, they'll have huge car sales on their lot, and we're going to get into why that is. But man, just so much fun stuff that I learned about President's Day. You never really sit here and kind of break it all down like this, but when you do it, it's really a lot of fun. So, okay, so again, it says many retailers started advertising big President's Day sales, which helped to popularize um, the name President's Day. So again, it went from being known as Washington's birthday or Lincoln's birthday to President's Day. And many of the big retail places would advertise, hey, coming up, don't miss our President's sale. Because typically this time of year, a lot of people, weather's colder, so not as many people go out. But if the President's Day sale is going to take place and you're going to save a lot of money, somebody sees a TV ad or they hear an ad on the radio that Kohl's or Best Buy is having a big President's sale on all electronics and you can get the best TV and computer. You know what? People just because they hear about a sale going on, they will get out of the house. They think, especially if they think they're going to save some money or get a better deal than usual. Then they will leave their house and try to take advantage of the sales. So that's another fun aspect of President's Day. Now here's another fun fact that anybody that's had history class or learn about the American history, you probably heard the famous story about George Washington chopping down the cherry tree. So I'm going to remind you what that story was and why it's so important. Okay, the story about Washington chopping down the cherry tree. Basically, it's where George says, "I cannot tell a lie." Was actually a story, but made up by some other famous writer. Now, let me see. The writer, his name was Mason Lockheed Weems, and he was a biographer and writer who told the accounts of many of the founders of the United States. Back in the early 1700s. So he made up this story about George Washington years after Washington died, telling the story of how a young George Washington received a hatchet when he was a young lad as a gift. And George George slightly damaged the hatchet when he used it to chop down his father's prized cherry tree. And the father got upset at first, and he wanted to know who chopped down his prized cherry tree. And instead of lying, George told his dad the truth. He said, Father, I cannot tell a lie. It was me who chopped down the cherry tree. Now, like I said, George's father was really upset at first because somebody chopped down his prized cherry tree. But the story ends basically that George was not punished because he told his father the truth. So instead of being punished, young George's father praised him for being an honest man and telling the truth. So again, another writer, years after Washington dies, tells this story to kind of, basically the moral is to tell the truth, be honest, like George Washington. George Washington was an honest man, but yet the story that everybody believes really happened to convince everybody that George was an honest man didn't really happen. It wasn't really the truth. So again, it was kind of a made up story, a made up fable. The moral of the story is be truthful, be honest. So again, like many things you'll read in the Bible, there was a moral kind of code to the story. And so a lot of people don't really dig too much into the fact that, hey, what this other guy was right about George Washington didn't really happen. It was a story he made up. A lot of people don't really take the time to even think about that or care because, again, it was all about teaching a moral, a lesson. Hey, tell the truth, be honest. And if you're honest like George Washington, good things will happen to you. You won't be punished. You'll be praised for your honesty. So, again, that's another thing, but I just am getting a kick out because I can't tell you how many times in history class I learned about this or through my life. I heard this is another one of those fables, these stories that we hear throughout our life, and because a teacher or our parents or we read it out of books, so we take it literally that it must have really happened, right? Well, finding out not all the time, folks. But again, this is something that I'm learning. I'm like, wow, I can't, it's another one of those things I believed all my life, but hey, that's kind of funny. Wow, man. So this has been a lot of fun. According to the story, like I said, when George Washington was a young boy, he just he believed in being honest. But again, the story didn't really happen, But the guy who wrote about the founders of our country, Mr. Weems, he was making up a story to teach people to, hey, be honest like George Washington, good things will happen to you. And again, the famous quote that people always write down is a George Washington quote. George never even said, I cannot tell a lie. I did it with my hatchet. He never said that. But yeah, you'll read in books and history teachers and professors will tell you that's exactly what happened. But you know what? We only have the literary word and stuff in books to go by because, excuse me, but none of us, me included, were alive in the 1700s when George Washington was very much still alive. We're talking about George Washington more than 200 years after his death. So there is that to be, and it's become one of the greatest stories, one of the greatest legends told in American history, folks, and it is still being told today, even though it's probably one of the biggest lies we've ever been told. But I'm all right with that because it teaches the moral ethic of being honest and telling the truth. So again, the guy that made up the story, Mr. Weems, I think his heart was in the right place. I think he's a guy that looked up to George Washington, and he was trying to find a way to, paint George Washington into being the most honest person, that ever lived. So there's that. Okay, so it says, fun fact here, folks, is that while the cherry tree incident never really happened, again, it became one of the most famous legends told in all of American history. And again, 2026, modern day, it's still one of those stories that kids are learning about in school, and they're believing it. And as I said, some big name retailers that are known for having President's Day sales include Walmart, Best Buy, Target, Home Depot, Kohl's, Macy's, um, Ashley's Furniture. So again, President's Day is gonna it's just one day away. By the time you're watching this, though, it'll be President's Day, and so go out and go and see what you can get on sale. Maybe you're in the need of a mattress. Okay, and then let's get into now why mattresses and cars became the big thing to go on sale each year at President's Day. Okay, I never really gave much thought to this, but you think about it. Every year around this time, you see TV ads, listen to radio ads, talking about a mattress sale somewhere or a car lot having a major President's Day sale. It's something they do annually every year, and it's become a custom. So let's get into this, folks. I mean, again, President's Day is famous for huge mattress sales, and what I was able to learn is because February is typically a slow shopping month. Again, February comes up like right after Christmas, so it's the weather's colder, not as many people going out shopping for one thing. Not, a lot of people are busy at work and school, so they don't have time to go shopping, or maybe they're trying to budget their money. And it says February is typically cold weather, which keeps people home. Now again, both mattresses and cars, it says that these are great. This is a great time to advertise such products because the pricing can be very flexible. The mattress stores or the car lots, they're very flexible with how they're able to kind of fluctuate the difference in the prices, the different models of the cars, the different models of the mattress. Even some mattress companies will have where you can buy one mattress and maybe get the other mattress for free. So a lot of mattress retailers do that. That's become a big thing. And then says, of course, another reason that this is a good time for mattress companies to have a big sale like this is because mattresses have it's a product that has a high profit margin, and if people need a bed or something, maybe they can't afford it at Christmas time, but they know around President's Day that hey, all the mattress stores are going to have a President's Day sale. That's the time to go. So that time to save up some money, and President's Day, I need a new mattress. I'm going to go get a new mattress. If I'm lucky, maybe I'll find something where I can buy one mattress and get another one for free. Why not? People are always looking for a bargain, looking to make a deal. So and then you'll see many of the mattress stores and car lots as well. Many of them will have sales where things will be stickered anywhere from 50 to 70% off. So that's fun too. Big car sales now take place every single President's Day. It's just became as much of a tradition as celebrating George Washington's birthday every year, or Abraham Lincoln's, and now we call it President's Day. And also, as far as cars, this is a real great time to have a car sale because this is the time of year when the car lots get all their new models and they start to arrive at the car lots. And they like to do this like in early spring, late winter. So that's a good time to have a President's Day sale, and that's actually why they do this. Because also around this time, they want to get what they want to do is all the car lots are starting to get all the newer models in for the year, and then typically a lot of what happen at President's Day sale is you have a choice. You can buy a brand spanking new like anybody going out this year, you get a brand spanking new 2026 model, or maybe you want to get a really great discount on a 2025 model or something a little older, and it's really kind of price is really being discounted for those older cars because they want to really get rid of the older model cars and make room for the newer model cars. But of course, the newer models got more features and they can charge more money for it. So there's that. Now, I got to ask you guys, I'm your host, Jason JRock Houston. This has been I've been really having a lot of fun doing this President's Day special, teaching you guys all about President's Day and why we celebrate it. I never get put this much thought into it, but I hope after watching our President's Day special, you guys have learned something. So let me know what you think of President's Day special. And everybody have a great President's Day, and I'll see you again real soon. Be sure you subscribe to both our Facebook page and our YouTube page, because that is the only way, folks, that you're going to be notified when we have a new episode go up. So thanks for tuning in, and see you again real soon. Bye for now.